Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have some beautiful news. Pagani to stick with the beautiful V12 engine. The internal combustion engine lives on in the glory of the V12. A very rare thing these days, I believe, in terms of, well, they're not really a commercial product in terms of a mass manufacturer, but in terms of car companies, I mean, BMW used to be iconic for it. Obviously, the McLaren F1, the best car in history. But really, you have Pagani and Aston Martin, thank God, has a V12 with a stick shift, even more beautiful. But there's really not as many as they used to be. Now, this comes with thing. Obviously, everyone wants to tune in the show and watch me. Of course, I'm so handsome, obviously. Ha, that's a joke. But seriously, let's get that beautiful Pagani on the screen here. And I've only gotten to see one in person in my lifetime. And it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. The particular one I saw was, it was a Pagani Utopia. And it was carbon, obviously it's all carbon fiber, but it was actually purple tinted. Or it was a purple color. It was immaculate. I think the guy spent like a year building it or configuring it and going to Italy, telling him what he wants. It cost about like $4 million plus. I can't mention the registration fees on that alone. But yeah, a moving work of art. Now go ahead and pull this up. This is by Jared Perez over there. And he says, Horacio Pagani is sticking with the V12s because no one wants a hybrid. And it's a rare thing. He says, the logic for building a V12 still and not doing a hybrid or electric supercar is simple. Quote, we have to build what the customer wants to buy. Well, also because they're a small enough company, the government isn't pushing them or bullying them like they are with major manufacturers who have high volumes of products. And that's why you see less and less great V8s in America these days, and more EVs and hybrids. But I partially digress. I could stare at that picture all day long. Not the part of the video with me, the Pagani in it. I mean, just the quad exhaust alone with that rear. And if you could zoom in, I mean, you could see the beautiful carbon fiber weave. And they say, quote, when it came time to develop Pagani Hyra's successor, the engine was the first and most important component to figure out. Horacio Pagani and his team worked closely with Mercedes-AMG to develop the motor that made the most sense, a twin-turbo V8 hybrid. However, it quickly became obvious that electrifying Modena's newest hypercar added too much weight and ruined the family recipe, though there's even heftier reason why hybrid Pagani wouldn't see the light of day. Utopia was ultimately unveiled in September 2022, powered by what would become Pagani's middle finger to the industry, a 6-liter twin-turbo V12. It produces 852 horsepower, and I told myself I wouldn't cry. It can come with a manual transmission, also known as having 3 pedals, also known as the best way to drive a vehicle, bar none. I cannot recommend it enough. I mean, if you have the capabilities, the finances to get a new car or a used car with a stick shift, I go out and do it today. You won't regret it. Even for the folks who say, oh, I'm in bumper-to-bumper traffic, for an hour. Well, one, you'll pay more attention to the road, thereby decreasing the odds that you're going to be in an accident. But, I mean, the best things in life, they're worth fighting for them. And getting a little exercise for our legs, they aren't going to hurt us too much these days. There you can see the top-down image of that beautiful engine. They say, no electric motors, no batteries, as Horacio Pagani explained when unveiling the Utopia Roadster. He said his lack of customer interest put the final nail in the coffin. He said, quote, in reality, no one is interested in a hybrid car. And I have hybrids in my collection. I have a Porsche 918 and a few more. But when it's time for me to take the Porsche out for a spin, I'll take my 911R or Carrera GT. Awesome. Again, the Carrera GT had a V10 and a stick shift. Basically took a race car engine into and just threw it in a commercial vehicle. And yeah, thanks to the EPA, you can't really do that too much these days. Hopefully that gets curtailed sometime soon. He continued to say, quote, our clients think along the lines of, I believe that if you ask people, most of them will say the hybrid is coming. It's something extraordinary because it has the problems of electric car and problems of combustion car. True. With the current AMG V12 in the Utopia Coupe, the Roadster has developed to meet worldwide regulations, and there's no need to reinvent the wheel when introduce a hybrid or even a full electric Pagani. The Argentinian visionary explained back in 2017 the entire team was assembled to explore these propulsion systems, but once again, the combination of a severe weight penalty and lack of customer interest brought that to an end. He continued to say, quote, the hybrid V8 was considered, but the car was just too heavy. 200 or 500 kilos more, and our clients don't want anything to do with it. We have to build what the client is going to buy from us. In 2017, we built a team to work on EV. The whole team was focused and excited, including myself. And we defined the concept for this car and got to work with Mercedes-AMG and other partners. We even started to work with Lucid, which had been excellent technology in the worlds of EVs. Debatable. But that's when it happened. Customers weren't interested. You can see it's probably more engineering just that one tire on that vehicle than an entire mass-produced Nissan or GM product. You can do and say, quote, "It's not about being stubborn or whether it's electric or hybrid. These are all fresh challenges for us. Pagani is a family, and we don't have the massive automaker conglomerate behind us. We have to build what the customer really wants, aka we can't afford to take losses for years like our competitors. And we have lots of technology to rapidly pivot if the customer does happen to change." You see an exploded view. You can actually see the frunk and the trunk popped open there, as well as the cool gull wing doors, or the, let's see here. Some good news. See that all day long. It is a nice contrarian to the whole automotive industry. And again, I'm still shocked to this day that they're coming out with a stick shift for the Pagani. I mean, think about it. If you want a V12 with a stick shift, and what is one of those? Oh, now it's considered vintage. The Lamborghinis from back in the day, like 2000, what was it? The LP640 is going for like $1 million if you want a stick shift V12 Lamborghini. And what are your other options? McLaren F1s are going for 20 plus million. Now you do have Gordon Murray's latest iteration, but those are still 3 to 4 million. So, granted, this is just expensive, but it's so rare to find that. Really, Aston Martin's the only, if you want to consider that, in terms of volume, it's much more of a high volume business than other super luxury vehicles. But it's so rare to have that. And in a world of companies just, making things because the accountants told them to, because the government told them to, it's becoming more rare to just have a company where they just listen to the customer feedback and they make such beautiful works of art. So a little bit of good news in the automotive industry. You don't hear that often. There's so many changes, and some are good, some are bad, but it's a little bit of good news today. So let me know. Do you think Pagani will ever? I mean, maybe they'll do a V16 one? No, I'm just kidding. I know Bugatti's doing the V16. I know it's automatic only. Yeah. But yeah, let me know how many of these bespoke automotive manufacturers will continue this trend or debunk the trend of EVs and hybrids. Because again, I mean, Porsche, their quote unquote supercar, again, it's the hybrid technologies, which, don't get me wrong, they still sold out. People bought them left and right. But how many, and again, this is by no means a true analog car. I mean, it's still got much technology, don't get me wrong, but how many more simplistic design vehicles like this relative to, to hybrids and EVs do you think we'll have left? And do you think anyone will actually follow them down their path? A lot of the big boys, I mean, Lamborghini, all those guys, they're having hybrids, they're killing their V12s to make V10s and V8s with the electric motors bolted on there. But let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Lego to switch to more expensive, non-oil-based materials for reasons. Which is great because, Legos aren't inherently expensive already. Oh wait, they're comically expensive because of the very, 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 very high, very, very intricate parts that have to lock into each other. The tolerances are very, 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 very minimal. That's one of the reasons why they're so prohibitively expensive for some people, and it's why Mega Bloks are so cheap. It's also considered a knockoff, but nevertheless, Mega Bloks, I mean, the tolerances are basically nothing. I mean, you just smash those things together. I mean, they'll do whatever you want. You just smash together. Legos gotta be really particular how you actually assemble them. And yeah, most of their career, they've been an oil byproduct, which, again, there's nothing wrong with pretty much everything nearly everything in our lives. If you look at what you're wearing, what you're using as electronics from your car to your house, they all mostly have oil byproducts in them. I mean, they're pretty durable, but I partially digress. Getting to the actual article with the Lego company. Now, this is by Breck Dumas, who's a writer over at Fox Business, which is somehow still in business. I think I account for about 18% of their network traffic. I check their website maybe every other day. I'm only partially exaggerating, but they say, quote, Lego swapping, oh, sorry, let me pull it up so you can actually see the title. They Lego swapping oil in this bridge for more expensive renewable plastic. Danish toy maker says it's on track to reach its goal of oil-free bricks by 2032, which, again, wise economic individual named Thomas Sowell once said there's no such thing as solutions like trade-offs. This is a big trade-off. Your product is already very expensive. Now you're going to make it even more expensive, thereby limiting the number of people who can actually purchase your product. So, I mean, and again, their patents have expired. So Lego is around as a trademark. You can't use their name or the logo, but the patent, they expired a couple of years ago. So that's why I go to even to the dollar store these days. Again, click that subscribe button. I have a theory that when I first started the show, not a lot of people tuned in. I had terrible speaking skills. Believe it or not, spoke even faster than I do now. Didn't enunciate anything, and mostly not monotone. But as I slowly but surely gain more subscribers, I've been increasing my speaking acumen. Some might argue it's just a modicum improvement. However, I would say an improvement nevertheless. So if you can click that button, I'd really appreciate it as I continue to someday to have a whole episode without a speaking mishap. Got to reverse that there. So click that button again. I greatly appreciate it. And someday we'll get to a whole episode perfectly spoken. Perhaps someday. No promises. But nevertheless, good old Lego. Yeah, it's just gonna be even. I mean, even when I was a kid, I was very, very fortunate. I never went hungry, but getting a new Lego set was a very rare thing, and it was never the big ones, and I was very grateful for the ones I had. I remember the one was a rock mining one was a popular when I was a kid. But let's go ahead and see if we can get a couple close-ups of those iconic interlocking bricks. And again, it is one of the most popular toys in history. Now they say, quote, Lego says it's on track to achieve the goal of replacing oil in its bricks entirely with renewable plastics by 2030 after inking deals with major producers that can provide fossil-free materials for the long term. I want to know how reliable will they be? Because again, with the exception of the brown bricks, because again, I forget the certain byproduct or additive that they have for that brick. Check out any Lego forums or the fun Lego, the Facebook groups where you can see the creations. Those notoriously are brittle and they do break. But besides that, I mean, they're almost as reliable as a Toyota. Now they say, quote, the Danish toy maker said it plans to gradually swap out oil-based plastics in their bricks with certified renewable resin. Jeez, this is a terrible idea. Which is 70% more expensive than the raw plastic typically come from the colorful building bricks. CEO Niels Christensen told Reuters this means a significant increase in the cost of producing the Lego brick. Wow. He suggested that the company would not pass along the cost added to consumers. Yeah, right. He says, quote, with a family owner committed to sustainability, it's a privilege that we can pay extra for raw materials without having to charge extra to our customers. They have 70%, they have that much profit margin then they can absorb this? And historically, I mean, throughout just the natural byproduct of time, most businesses increase in costs throughout time. You got natural inflation, sometimes government causing inflation, but all the components from the little color printed books, you got the ink there, you got the paper there, you got the cardboard, you got the research development, the manufacturing, it all goes up in price. And he's saying, oh yeah, we're just going to absorb this. I hope this is true. I mean, I hope he says, oh yeah, we're just going to absorb the cost. But I am so skeptical because all these CEOs say this, and I don't know how often it actually is true. He said, quote, geez Louise. Well, at least it is some research. They say, quote, Lego noted that its decision to transition away from oil-based bricks was not made recently. The company tested more than 600 alternative materials over the past 8 years. Now they say, quote, in 2022, Lego began investing more than $1.4 billion in sustainability initiatives over a 4-year period in order to transition to more sustainable materials and cut its carbon emissions by 37% by 2032. Only they had that much dedication to make their product more affordable so they can increase the volume of their business. And therefore, they actually have more money. Partially digress. They say, quote, Lego's oil-free material suppliers are using bio-waste such as cooking oil or food industry waste fat and recycled materials to replace virgin fossil fuels in plastic production. Those are impressive sales. The company says sales through January to June rose 13% to 31 billion Danish crowns. Okay, in slightly more real US fiat money, only slightly more legitimate than monopoly money. That's $4.65 billion. By comparison, Lego increased its first half sales by 1% last year and 17% in 2022. And they say that the CEO Christensen now expects a double-digit growth in 2024 compared to the earlier single-digit growth. Yeah, I don't know about that. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but interesting to see. Let me know in the comments. I mean, Lego's one of the best toys in history. I mean, shoot, I still have mine at my parents' place somewhere, probably in the attic. I mean, I still remember those sets we assembled back in the day. And I can't but think, man, do you honestly think that the price is not going to go up? I don't think they're going to have a choice. Even if they have ridiculously good profit margins right now, I mean, hopefully those suppliers that they're teaming up with will be able to drastically reduce it through a massive purchasing volume, perhaps, but not good fiscal news for the people who are trying to buy Legos, I don't think. Let me know in the comments, and then let me know what was your favorite Lego set, and when was the last time you actually bought some? Let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Foot Locker moving their headquarters from New York to Florida. Yeah, we could have all seen this coming. I have a running bet with some of the friends, and let me know in the comments. Can you name a single business that has moved to California or Florida, or sorry, to California or New York in the past 5-10 years? Again, click that subscribe button. It'll help me with my speaking ineptitudes, probably. See, didn't get enough people to click that button. That's why I keep speaking on this episode. Because that's my running theory. Let help fuel that theory and see if it comes true. Have a perfectly articulate episode someday, perhaps. Now, this comes with thanks to Allison Murphy, who is a writer over at Fox Business, which, again, now we're up to like 19% of their total network traffic. I'm only, again, partially exaggerating. And she says, quote, another exit, Foot Locker to relocate headquarters from New York to Florida. The footwear company is currently headquartered in New York. You can see their iconic Foot Locker stores, which, interestingly enough, it's one of those things where I always walk past it. I know what it is, but yeah, have you ever bought anything from Foot Locker? Remember when I was a kid, Galleons was this popular sporting goods store. I would go there for my running shoes. And later in life, I went to the New Balances because, made in America. And those are individually owned in terms of franchise stores, so you're supporting your local family more often than not. But yeah, have you ever gone to Foot Locker? A little deceiving. I don't see a single Foot Locker in the Foot Locker store. Do they even sell them? A little bit of fake advertising there, I think. Not all seriousness. They say, quote, the footwear retailer said that the city of St. Petersburg would become its new corporate headquarters in late 2025. Foot Locker said it is seeking to, quote, further build the company's meaningful presence in St. Petersburg while enabling increased collaboration across teams, across banners, across functions, while also reducing cost. Ahaha, that last one is key because it's very, very, very expensive to run a business in New York or California. They continue to say, quote, the retailer already had a, quote, very meaningful commercial and executive team presence in St. Petersburg, according to CEO Mary Dillon. The company won't be requiring relocation for workers, she told analysts and investors. So I was going to say, we're not requiring it. Hopefully they give them a bonus if they want to get the heck out of New York. I imagine wanting to stay there. So Dillon actually said, quote, historically, that was originally the headquarters of Champs Sporting Goods. We had a large concentration of folks there already, and we think it's a great place for us to continue to grow and do business and continue to attract top talent. Unquote. They say, quote, and this is Fox News. Meanwhile, Foot Locker's corporate presence in New York City will be limited in the future. Yeah, they're going to shrink that down to nothing. I can't imagine. Just imagine how much they're spending just on real estate. That's huge. Imagine if you have to work there. Imagine how much the government is stealing. I mean, taxing your paycheck. Now, Dillon said, quote, the HQ location to the Sunshine State will, quote, going to continue to give us better opportunities, both for further collaboration across the business, and there's some financial benefits over time as well. Well, of course. I'm sure they got a nice, I'm sure they got a good, I'm pretty sure they got a good tax incentive package. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Toyota relocated their headquarters out of California to the great state, or some might argue the great country of Texas, specifically Plano, because they didn't have to pay property tax for, I believe, 10 or 15 years, but they generated and brought over 5,000 tax-paying workers. There's a big upside to that situation. Now, Foot Locker linked up this corporate move in an effort to, quote, further support strategic progress in its lace-up plan, which, of all the funny plans you hear for turnarounding businesses and expanding businesses, you gotta give them A+ for marketing. Their business turnaround plan is called the lace-up plan, which makes sense. They sell mostly shoes, although looks like they also have hats in this picture as well, and sweaters. Everything but Foot Lockers, apparently. They say, quote, the lace-up plan, which kicked off in March, included initiatives like new store formats, moving away from mall stores, revamping its loyalty program, and leaning more into digital to improve Foot Locker's growth. The footwear retailer has launched a global technology services hub in Dallas, slated for next month, in a move separate from the company's headquarters relocation. Dillon said the site will, quote, be a key enabler of our technology infrastructure modernization under the lace-up plan, which also makes sense. Dallas-Fort Worth has a great technological presence, not just companies, but also talent to choose from. Here, pulling up their actual stock graph. Stock is frozen. So good news I was going to say, if you're an investor, you should be happy as all hell. That's going to be more money they can put into research, development, hiring new people, increasing the pay of their current employees, and pretty much just making the business better. So I suppose this could also be part of the political part of the channel, because again, that is a mechanism, or that is one of the reasons they are moving away, because again, politics affect businesses, affect tax codes. It's one of the many variables why businesses leave one state for another. And I'm not surprised. Florida and Texas have been two of the biggest places that companies have been moving to the past couple of years. And I don't see that trend turning around anytime soon. Out of curiosity, when's the last time you actually shopped at Foot Locker? And what's your favorite thing about that company? Let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Going over to the Cultural Problem podcast, you have Shake Shack vowing to have 50% African American leadership by 2025, sparking controversy around DEI, hiring quotas, and inequities in terms of, wait a minute, you're not accepting certain resumes? Seems illegal. Technically it is, however, culturally, very similar to many laws like jaywalking in the United States, we're not seeing a lot of lawsuits around it yet. I suspect we will, especially in the next couple of years, especially after the Supreme Court have shot down DEIs, and with colleges, saying that colleges cannot change the way of the scales. They can't actually block or hire people based on that component. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Lives of TikTok on the good old X Twitter, in which she says, quote, Shake Shack, and she actually tags them, promises by 2025 their leadership will be 50% black. They also boast about ensuring more women and black people get promotions. In other words, they will discriminate against white people. How is this legal? Then she has actually straight from their corporate website. And let me pull that up here. Kind of hilarious. I actually do have a white guy who's actually smiling in that picture. And I don't think he realizes, oh, wait a minute, this means inherently I will be barred from certain opportunities because they're shifting the scales. They're going to be weighing these different factors. And if they have to meet those goals, that means your resume is not going to be